Afghans are confused, asking why our allies keep bombing us from high altitudes, even though they understand that frequent and disproportionate collateral damage caused by international security forces is one of the Taliban's core psychological strategies to create an occupying force image from one of liberator that is currently popular perception in Afghanistan. I strongly believe that some of the key challenges I mentioned have increasingly allowed the Taliban a space to expand their influence in terrorist attacks in Afghanistan and as well as in Pakistan. At the same time, we must recognize the fact that the Taliban cannot be defeated in Afghanistan without dismantling their command and control infrastructure in Pakistan's federally administered tribal areas, or FATA, from where they daily launch terrorist attacks inside Afghanistan. We know that no insurgency without a cause could ever survive without external sanctuaries and support. And so unless such external source of support for the Taliban insurgency ends, military and civilian casualties will continue rising in Afghanistan, gradually giving the terrorists an upper hand. With these challenges and opportunities in mind, how can we more immediately stabilize Afghanistan? I have a few recommendations which I would like to share with you, and I look forward to your questions and your views on how to address the situation in Afghanistan. First, I think it is critically important as a priority to strengthen our new state and institutions so they will soon gain the capacity to fulfill their mandates and contribute to effective government. Without security and good governance, we will be unable to attract foreign investment in the national resource and infrastructure sectors, which we know can help provide alternative employment for poppy farmers and jobs for a very young population, and as well as millions of returning refugees. We know from the experience of many developing countries, from the rise of the West, such as China, India, Brazil, Turkey, South Korea, Malaysia, and others, that only sustainable economic growth and not relief aid and handouts will help reduce poverty in Afghanistan. I wish to stress that Afghanistan cannot achieve self-reliance and self-sufficiency unless the international community enables it to do so. In light of our massive rebuilding needs, the international community must match ends with means. They should not only commit long-term resources to peace building in Afghanistan, but also ensure that aid is effectively delivered through the Afghan state and institutions in order to achieve the objectives of our national development strategy. We have a strategy to end the peace in Afghanistan, but it needs to be resourced, and our institutions need to be built and used to basically drive the rebuilding and development process in Afghanistan on the long run. So we call upon our international partners to deliver on the commitments they made last June at the Paris Support Conference, and to align their aid with the objectives of our strategy, a key priority of which is to build capacity in the Afghan state institutions. Regionally, Pakistan's military and intelligence establishments must be persuaded bilaterally and multilaterally to cooperate sincerely in the war against terrorism, while the country's civilian government must be strengthened to ensure stability in Pakistan and the rest of the region on the long run. We are firmly committed to partnering with Pakistan's democratically elected government to eliminate source of instability in our two countries and to work towards long-term security and economic cooperation in the whole region. At the same time, we recommend that the coalition and NATO ISAF bolster their military strength in the fight against terrorism in Afghanistan. The commanders on the ground are asking for 3 additional well-equipped brigades by 20,000 forces with a flexible mandate to secure Afghanistan. The US is going to deploy several thousand more forces to Afghanistan by early next year, and President-elect Barack Obama is strongly committed to increasing America's military and rebuilding assistance to Afghanistan as soon as possible. U.S. assistance should be complemented with more military and non-military resources from other NATO member states to bolster military efforts to contain and defeat the Taliban in Afghanistan. Ultimately, we think the key to securing Afghanistan will rest in the build-up of a professional Afghan army and police. We plan to expand the size of the Afghan National Army to 134,000 soldiers within the next 5 years, as well as jump-starting the reform and development of the Afghan National Police to meet Afghanistan's law enforcement and defense needs. There is no doubt that Afghanizing the security sector will dramatically cut down on the current financial and human cost of the international military presence in Afghanistan, while enabling Afghans to defend our country more effectively now and in the future. Finally, we cannot afford to lose popular support in Afghanistan. Our partners must seize the opportunity to regain the lost ground by involving and empowering Afghans to take control over their country's reconstruction process. Our partners can and must use their influence and resources to reward competence and moderation while weakening potential peace spoilers to ensure that when they exit Afghanistan, the Afghan people firmly stand on our own feet. So the message is that, of course, we have made significant progress over the past 7 years, but we have increasingly faltered in consolidating those achievements. As a result, the Taliban have been able to regroup and reconstitute outside Afghanistan's borders and come back to basically challenge us and our international partners. And so we hope that the new administration and the U.S. and as well as our other allies take note of the deteriorating situation in Afghanistan over the past at least 3 years and recommit firmly to securing Afghanistan, which is, of course, in the best interest of our security interest of our partners, and as well as regional peace and security, particularly in light of the recent events in India. So with that, I'd like to take your questions. Thank you.